Technology can either expand us or imprison us. And AI insights have the same dual nature. Here's my litmus test of what to first have to look for. Does this insight serve people or does it surveil them?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the I Will Aim podcast. Our topic for today: hybrid work in AI age. We're standing at the crossroad of technology and humanity. The hybrid workplace isn't just about where we work anymore. It's about how we work with machine that thinks, learn, and adapt. In this episode, Brian joins me to explore how AI is transforming teamwork, leadership, and the very definition of productivity in the new world of hybrid work. With my guest, Brian Fippinger. Welcome, Brian.
Hi, Will. How you doing?
Good. How about we kick it off with a quick introduction?
I'm Brian Fippinger. I'm the managing director of Q4 Consulting. I'm a speaker on technology and human interface. I've been doing this for years, more years than I like to admit. But this AI transition we're in is something I've been working on for 3 or 4 years. And it's a pleasure to be here with Will and talking with you today. So thanks you.
Welcome. Let's start with the first question. Brian, hybrid work has already redefined how organizations collaborate and work together. But with AI accelerating the way it is right now, how do you see it changing in the way we collaborate?
Well, Will, I think the next big shift isn't going to be about technologies, better video conferencing, smarter scheduling tools, all of that. I think it really needs to be about, and hopefully will be about, embodied presence in a disembodied world. We're moving from where should we work to how do we stay truly present when AI mediates so much of our interactions and so much of our daily activities. I call this transition from coordination to consciousness. AI can coordinate our calendars, summarize our meetings, route all our communications, but it can't replace somatic wisdom. That comes from reading a room, sensing when somebody is struggling, or knowing when to pause and deeply listen. The teams that will thrive in this are those that learn to use AI to handle transactional work while intentionally creating spaces for genuine human connection, what I call digital Sabbaths, within workplaces, daily workplaces, and where we can fully be present with each other's, screens off and connected here. I'm not talking about a screen like you and I are looking at. I'm talking about those times where we have this screen, but like on my desk, I have 3 monitors. I have this and I have 2 others. I can't be doing email there, texting there. I need to be fully present with you and anybody else that we're needing to connect. Those are the people that can thrive.
I just want to ask a follow-up question on that. How do you think can we make ourselves truly present then? Do you have any suggestions on how we could make ourselves truly present?
Purely present takes the ability to ground yourself, what I call find your feet. Because what we know about energy is it will follow our attention. If you have a bruise on your hand or something, you start thinking about it and it hurts more. Well, it's how do you put your attention to your feet, ground it. And that you can see, I did that and you can see it made me sit up. It made me come to my center. So if we're present with ourselves, we can be present with others. So that's a big part of it. That's part of somatic wisdom.
Thank you for sharing that. Many fear AI would replace our jobs, yet others believe it will redefine our roles. In a hybrid environment, how do you envision AI enhancing but not replacing human element of work?
Well, I look at AI as a liberation technology, not a replacement technology. It will help us. When I work with leaders, helping them navigate through transitions like this, I've seen how much time we waste on being driven by the urgent. That's what I call responding to emails. updating spreadsheets, texting on our phone, the things that we think we have to do immediately like that. But what I think AI will do, because AI can handle that, is it will free us up to do what humans do best, move with the important. That means the work that requires empathy, intuition, improvisation, and what we call in somatic coaching, what we were just talking about, centered presence. My research on empathy in the workplace shows that companies with empathetic leadership report 56% higher revenue gains than any other companies. AI can't replace that. It can analyze sentiment, but it can't feel when a team member needs support or an idea needs room to breathe. AI can enhance our, having trouble talking. AI can enhance our humanity by giving us back our attention, but only if we intentionally reclaim it. Does that make sense?
I think I love the fact that you said intentionally reclaim it, because technology could be a means of consuming us and our time.
Mm-hmm.
But by being intentional, you're purposely taking action, right? And by purposely taking action, that's how you could improve things and show empathy in your leadership.
Absolutely, because that's what humans can do best. I did an interview with AI once, if I might go off on a tangent here. I did an interview with AI, used Copilot, just because it was there. And I wanted to see what AI would tell me if I interviewed them about empathy. So I did about a 20-minute interview. My first question was, can you, his answer was interesting. No. He says, no, I can simulate it, but I will never have it. And then we talked for a while more. I asked other questions, but then my closing question was: as you continue to learn, as you continue your model getting bigger, more information, everything, will you ever be able to have empathy? He says, no. I will just be able to simulate it better. Now, therein lies the problem. Is many companies today are using AI for, in my opinion, the wrong place, which is why I believe many AI initiatives fail. For instance, customer interaction, especially in a help desk. Many people are using that as what they see as low-hanging fruit. I think that's exactly the wrong place to put it, because what happens in a customer support call? Somebody's calling. I have a problem. I'm probably, and if I'm bothering to pick up the phone and call, it's because the problem is urgent, which means I'm already hyper. The best thing you can do for that customer in the moment is have empathy,
Yep. True, true,
not
true.
simulated empathy,
Yeah.
not pretend empathy, truly empathizing with the customer. Only humans can do that. And that's where we forget. We look for efficiency, not for effectiveness.
And I think that the base reason why that problem arises because people look at the wrong thing to focus on. They look at efficiency in a way in saving time, but human interaction is one of the key touch points that's very vital,
Mm-hmm.
right, to building that relationship. And like you mentioned, when they call you, they're already agitated with a problem that they're facing with. And the last thing you want them to work through is going through menus and menus and menus of options that's none of them are meeting the requirement, and then getting them frustrated and thereby moving on to someone else.
And it's actually we're already been trained to go through items and items and items and items, but we know that the voice on the other end isn't going to give us empathy.
Yeah.
But when AI starts to give you an avatar and it's actually talking to you, not just saying push one, push two, that's going to frustrate people more because they assume there's going to be some empathy,
Yeah, but there's not.
but there's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, let's now dive into the topic of productivity because that's
Okay.
one of the things that technologies talk about.
hmm
Now AI can measure or even predict the output or outcome, and they're becoming smarter and smarter than human. How does leaders strike the balance between trusting technology and trusting their people?
Will, I think I've been thinking about this question. I think you're creating a false binary here. It's not technology versus people. It's about understanding what I call the new status quo, because it ain't never going to be normal again as we know it today.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a new status quo. It's not going to be normal, and it's not going to stay where it is long enough to become a normal, I don't think. But and the leaders need to be comfortable with that ambiguity. Here's my framework. Trust AI for patterns, trust people for wisdom. AI excels at analyzing data, as you said, predicting trends, measuring output, but wisdom, knowing when to pivot with that, when to push, when to show compassion, only humans can do that. And the mistakes I see leaders making with AI is they're treating the metrics as truth rather than input. My Ikigai coaching training, I help people find their through line. What is their core purpose? AI can't tell you your purpose. It can give you productivity measurements, but only you can determine if what the work you're doing is meaningful. And that you can be very efficient at something that doesn't mean anything. And we've both been in organizations that's what they measure. So I think that leaders have to practice what I call foresight over oversight. How do I put it? Using AI to connect the dots and using people with the embodied intuitive knowledge that they comes from actually being with their teams to make decisions.
I think what I like what you're saying is using AI for the capability that it offers you.
hmm
But at the end of the day, rely on your human. As I always tell people, the equation is human plus AI.
hmm
It's not just AI because if you let AI do its thing, it'll run amok, right? It'll run amok. But that's why it's important for a human to use AI and then be the owner of accepting or enhancing the output of it.
And I think that you've hit on a very important point. What people think about AI is that it's thinking. It's not analyzing, it's not computing. They're thinking that it's thinking. And no. And so what they do is they say, all right, AI said it, so it must be right. Instead of saying, okay, that's input. That's data that I need to put together, I need to look at, and I need to put human compassion and empathy into it.
And as technologists, we know it's garbage in, garbage out, right? And it's proven that, in fact, MIT just released a research that 95% of the AI implementation failed.
hmm
Why they failed? Because they failed because there was no tangible strategy as to implementing them, and there were no good data being used to
hmm
actually implement them. Therefore, the AI hallucinate and give you bad outcome that not only hurt your relationship with your customer, but impact your reputation at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, it's using it as truth.
Yep, true, true, true. So now let's now pivot to the next topic, culture. Culture
Okay.
is important in every organization. It's also very important in human connection. How can leaders preserve their authenticity and empathy and team culture amidst all these changes with AI?
Based on my coaching and my working with people and my research, I see three critical skills that every leader, actually, and we're all leaders, have to develop. Or they already have it, but they have to work with it and be conscious of it. The first is somatic intelligence. That's the ability to read subtle clues, regulate your nervous system, and maintain centered presence, like we were talking about under pressure. AI can't teach you how to breathe into your anxiety or recognize when your body is signaling something's wrong here, something's off. How many times have you walked into a meeting and before you've even sat down, you know your body's telling you there's something going on here? There's a tension here. You know that. You feel that. That's somatic intelligence. Your body, it's through the body that we learn. And you can move with that. AI can't. AI doesn't know that. So I think that's the first critical skill. The second is improvisational capacity. Performers have always been those and will continue to be those who can dance with uncertainty, pivot quickly, and stay creative when plans start to fall apart. My improv training teaches me that you can't script innovation.
Mm.
AI gives us information, but humans turn that into imagination, and imagination is where innovation comes from. And then the third is what I call through-line clarity. We've touched on this a little bit earlier. Knowing your purpose, your values, your unique contribution. In my article, Follow Your Through Line, I talk about identifying your core passions. AI can optimize your workflow, but only you can ensure that your work actually matters to you and to your organization. High performers won't just be productive, they'll be purposeful. And what I find ironical is these skills that I'm talking about are ancient skills that we've just ignored. And I think AI is going to allow us to go back to those and thrive.
So let me ask a quick follow-up question on somatic intelligence. How does the leader develop their somatic intelligence? Where do they, I know you're a somatic coach, like how do they engage folks like you to help them grow their somatic intelligence?
Well,
And what's the process?
Well, the process, they can call me and I'd be happy to come out and work with them, but it's actually simpler than that. It is allowing yourself to get out of your head and into your body. We all have our own language. Each body has your own language. Let me ask you a question. This is normally a simple one. It's one I ask a first time for somebody. What happens to your body when you get angry?
It's enough.
Where?
I think neck and shoulder.
Okay, see how quick you knew that? See how quick you knew that? You know what your body does when you're angry. Now, knowing that, you can, and the more you know that, the more you're aware of that, the more you think about that. When you first start tightening up, that's when you say, okay, I'm angry. Am I angry about this conversation? And if so, should I be?
Yeah.
Or what is more likely is that I'm angry about the conversation I had 5 minutes ago.
Mm.
That's still up here, which means I'm not here. I'm still back there. So how do you center yourself? It's very how do you center yourself? Like what I did before you came on. I came on. I sat and I breathed. I took my breath, found my feet, centered myself. So I didn't have the 30 minutes of my preparation here. I didn't have my next meeting here. I was here.
Wow.
That's step one, and that's a step that you can do easily. Anybody can do easily. And I recommend you do it before every call, before every interaction. It takes that long to just, and there's plenty of books out there. I'll hawk a book for my partner, Dr. Chris Johnson, called The Leadership Pause. It's on Amazon, and it's a practical guide to being able to pause in the moment to get your full presence. So that would be one way.
I love the concept of pausing and centering yourself in preparation for the upcoming engagement, because that's the only way you're truly going to be present. Let's talk about data and how it's being used. With AI can analyze data, engagement, productivity, so on and so forth, and tone of email. I met a company who does that. How can an organization leverage that capability but remain ethical?
Remain ethical. I wrote about something similar to this in my book. Have you been put in a cell by your cell phone? The technology can either expand us or imprison us. And AI insights have the same dual nature. So here's my litmus test of what you first have to look for. Does this insight serve people or does it surveil them? That's a key. And ethical AI use in the workplace, I believe, has three points. Transparency. People need to know what's being measured and why it's being measured. Secondly, agency. Employees have to have the ability to contextualize the data about their work. And the third one is just, again, it's back to purpose. Insights drive support, not punishment. If the purpose is, I'm going to watch this and I'm going to come down with a hammer if I see this, then that's punishment, not support. I've seen organizations use AI to identify burnout patterns and proactively offer resources. That serves people.
Yeah, that's a good use of it.
Right. I've also seen managers use email tone analysis, which is one of my pet peeves about use of AI, but email tone analysis to question employees' attitude. That's ridiculous. And the research on AI companionship I've done shows how easily relationships with AI can become extractive rather than supportive. And that's a great example of it. The same applies to the workplace. Leaders need to ask themselves, are we using AI to understand our people better or to control them better? Too many people are using it to control. There's a software out from I won't name the company, that actually uses an AI tool to, in the moment, with their telemarketers and their inside salespeople, listen to their calls and put up next to the screen, say, don't say that, use this word.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that can be helpful, but I mean, for silly things, like, for instance, if I'm talking to a bank, if this person's talking to a bank and they keep saying clients, it'll come up and say they don't have clients.
Say
No,
customer.
yeah, say customer, and things like that. That's invasive,
It is. It is.
and it is the definition of surveilling.
Yeah, that's not healthy at all. Well, thank you for highlighting that. If for someone who's listening to us today, what's the one important point that you want them to take away with?
I think what I'd like them to take away with is AI can take your tasks, but only you can give your work meaning. My challenge here for everyone is to take one day experiment that I call Digital Sabbath Challenge. Pick 1 hour each day, that same hour. And when you are completely disconnected from all digital devices, use that time to be fully present with yourself, be with someone else one-on-one. Move your body. Think without distraction, in quiet. We hate quiet. There was a study many years ago of a group of individuals that were placed into a silent room for a purpose, for an extended period of time. And they had a choice: sit there quietly or give themselves shocks. The vast majority of men, much higher in men than women, but the vast majority of both sides would rather periodically give themselves shocks than sit in quiet with their own thoughts. And that was probably 20 years ago. Think about it now. How often are you quietly in your own thoughts? Get comfortable with your own thoughts. I think the hybrid workplace that's powered by AI is inevitable. But whether it makes us more human or less human, that's our choice. And we need to make it intentionally.
I like your 21-day digital Sabbath challenge, and I also urge everyone to experience the quiet time, where it's just trying to be with oneself and learn to continue that, because that's one thing that's impacted with all the technology being around and phone buzzing all day long, right? Is we're losing our ability to experience the silent and quiet period.
And that's where presence comes from.
For my audience, if they want to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach out and connect with you?
If you'd like to reach out, I can give you my email. It's Brian at BRIAN at the letter Q, the number 4 dash consulting.com. You can go to our website, which is www.q4consulting.com, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn. My phone number is on LinkedIn as well, and you can give me a call.
Well, thank you, Brian, for your time. Really appreciate it. And also looking forward to collaborating with you on the next project that I had.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the next couple of projects we're collaborating on.
Yeah.
And Will,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.